welcome to Scorched Earth. This is going to be a mid-month reading for the month of March. For the sign of Capricorn, Sun, Moon and Ascendant. If you don't know what your Moon or Ascendant signs are, have a look in the description box below. There's a link down there that will help you. And then come back and watch your Moon and Ascendant sign videos, because it'll give you a better idea of what's going on with you overall, rather than just focusing on your Sun sign, for that is but a sliver of your natal chart. So you're better off getting a bigger picture. Thank you so much. I got up on Monday morning to discover I'd sailed over 10,000 subscribers, and that's a hell of an achievement. Like, I'm just gonna let myself own that. That is amazing. But it is all down to you guys, like every single last one of you who has subscribed or liked or commented or shared, messaged me, reached out for personal readings, donations, you know, that kind of thing. Like, thank you so much. I can't tell you how much it means to me, and you have my unswerving and unending gratitude for your support. Long may it continue. So, long may I be worthy of it continuing, in fact. What else? Mercury retrograde is over for this period of the year. Comes back again in June, so, you know, just so you're aware. And we are still in the shadow period up until I think the 29th. Pisces season is still very much in play, but that will be over by the 21st-ish of March. And that will be the beginning of the new year in zodiacal terms. So if you have any intentions for the rest of this year, it might be a good idea to combine those with the new moon that we have on the 24th. Yeah? Use that Aries energy and the new moon energy to set intentions for where you intend to move. Saturn is moving out of Capricorn. I think it's either doing it this month or it's done it already, and it's going into Aquarius. So it's kind of heavy work energy that the world has been experiencing is going to kind of slacken off a little bit, and we're going to take a kind of broader view of things. So, like, I think that's a good thing, personally, but we'll see. So, I don't think I've got anything else to say. If I have, it's probably not that important. So, with all of that said, let's get some cards. Because it's a mid-month reading, I'm going to try and avoid using clarifiers to make the videos a little bit shorter, because it does cover a smaller period of time. But do remember that time is fluid, so it can kind of leech either side of, you know, the prescribed time frame. I'm going to get 3 cards for where your energy is right now, 3 cards for what's coming towards you for the rest of March, and 3 cards of advice is the plan. If I need to pull clarifiers, I will, because I make my rules, so I break my rules. It's just to try and keep them a little more condensed, you know. Anywho, 3 cards for Capricorn's energy. Ooh. First card is Strength. That's the card of Leo in the Major Arcana, number 8. Hello. The second card is the 4 of Swords. That's interesting. I have one more card for Capricorn's energy. Where's Capricorn right now, please? Here it is. Queen of Swords. It's a card of Libra, that one. We've got a card that's dropped, and I'm going to show it to you because it's dropped rather than jumped, so I'm not going to take it. It's 10 of Pentacles. And talks about, can talk about work, can talk about business, can talk about your family life as well, but it talks about commitment. And I showed it to you because you're Capricorn and you're an earth sign, and maybe it's got this on your mind, I think. And the card, we've got several cards. We've got the 5 of Wands and the Moon, which have flipped, which I take to mean internal conflict, right? Maybe you've been using a bit of the Pisces energy to have a deep dive internally and have a look at your emotions and see what they're doing, which is never wasted energy. I like that. That's a good thing to do, Capricorn, and you don't, as a sign, do that very often. So it's good to see, right? Everything in balance. So the first card that you have is the Strength card. And like I said, that's the card of Leo in the Major Arcana. Right? And I think it's quite interesting that it's come out, because this Strength card, over and above any other that I have in the 6,000 decks that I own, it's the only one that's got water on it, right? So for me, there's a sense of you strengthening up emotionally. I mean, this is what the Strength card refers to, right? It's not the ability to wrestle boar or lions or anything like that. It's strength of character, right? And it is more often than not a kind of soft power more than anything else. It's not about you going around and clobbering enemies. It's about mastering yourself. It's about being able to deal with adverse circumstances and growing as a result, right? There's always growth where the sun is, and Leo is ruled by the sun, right? Growth. But these animals are kind of sloshing through some water. It feels like things have been a little bit more emotional recently than perhaps you're comfortable with. But you're getting there. You're traversing through. And it's not that deep, to be fair. They're not swimming. They are kind of paddling a little bit. So, it feels like it was probably well overdue. And you are growing as a result. And the next card that you have is the Four of Swords. Now, the Four of Swords is kind of taking a break, right? Because it's swords. And interestingly, on this card, the swords are under a veil, right? Now, usually in standard depictions, you've got this kind of very similar scene to this, but you've got 3 swords on the wall, and then the person lying down is lying over one of the swords, right? It's the Ace down there, and the 3 of Swords is the heartbreak. Right? So it comes to be that period of withdrawal that we undertake when we've had our hearts broken. We're resting on the truth. We're accustoming ourselves to a new truth. Checking that wasn't the postie. It's not. And adapting in light of this thing that's broken our heart. Now, what do we learn from it? How do we grow? Things like that, right? This is slightly different because all 4 of these swords have had a blanket chucked over them, right? So it's possible that you found it difficult to employ your intellect on a particular matter, right? Been a bit foggy, perhaps. Or there's a notion that you may have deliberately stopped trying to intellectualize everything and spent a bit of time just in repose, just kind of feeling your way through rather than driving yourself through. Right? It's rest, it's recuperation, it's withdrawal. And there's this white dog down here that I almost always miss. Never notice it. He's sleeping down there too. Right. I think in order to get on top of some of the emotional things that you've been feeling, probably in the last month, if Pisces season has had anything to do with it, then this is probably what it is. You've been kind of having a little splash around in how you feel about things. And there is a feeling, an overwhelming feeling that I've got that things have changed, like circumstances have shifted, and you have had to withdraw just a little bit. Whether, from social situations and stuff like that, people at large, or just from the bit of your mind that is always, 5 years in the future. Kind of have to pull it back a little bit and feel some things, right? Kind of feel your way into the new situation. And then the final card that you've got is the Queen of Swords, which is interesting because she generally does not employ emotion in the making of her decisions. She's purely intellect based. She talks about reason and logic and, notions of justice, those things that are right or that are wrong. And it's a binary situation. There's no in between with the Queen of Swords. But it feels like this new understanding that you've got about whatever your new circumstances are, and they are slightly different to how they were before, right? You've acclimatized yourself to that. And it's actually sharpened up your thinking. Counterintuitively, you've kind of stepped back a little bit. You've analysed a few things. No, you haven't analysed a few things. That's kind of the point. You've felt a few things. And putting those in the right place is now allowing you to move forward in a state of reason, I guess. Yeah. Hearing some stuff about you judging yourself, and it feels like maybe part of this Strength card and this Four of Swords is a reduction in the amount of time that you have spent judging yourself and your actions, right? You have forgiven yourself for a lot of things, and now you're moving forwards with a very clear idea of what you think about things and how you intend to proceed. That's really valuable. It's very valuable, and it's uncharacteristically reflective. Because Capricorns face forwards and they drive forwards relentlessly, and this is a sense of having gone backwards a little bit in order to move forwards in a more collected and logical way. I like that. I like that very much. Right. What's coming towards Capricorn for 15th to the 31st of March, please? What's coming towards Capricorn? First card you've got is the King of Cups. That's interesting. Second card you've got is Justice, and that now sits right at the heart of the reading. One more card for what's coming towards Capricorn, please. There she is, Knight of Wands. Interesting. Card that's dropped out is the Wheel of Fortune. And I'm not really surprised to see that there, because when we enter a reflective phase, when we spend a bit of time looking inward and healing those things that we might ordinarily just kind of plough through, stick in a box and forget about because it doesn't really help us move forward, so we think. What we do is kind of, by definition and accidentally, raise our vibrations, right? Because we're healing things within ourselves, and they can help us move forwards. Great deal. The Wheel of Fortune, which is the card of Sagittarius, kind of suggests that this is what you've done. This is your current energy as it stands at the moment has been an exercise in raising your vibration. You know, you've maybe let some things go, forgiven yourself for a few things, and the universe is going to respond in kind, which is excellent, because at the bottom of the deck we have the Two of Pentacles, and that talks about internal balance, right? Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Ooh, more interesting still. Right, so I'll go through all of these with you, right? This is a card of internal balance, right? Because it's the two. It's Two of Pentacles, and this is balancing, you know, your kind of your duties and your Capricornian kind of drivers and motivators with this big emotional, you know, turmoil that's behind, right? This is pulling this together and balancing it out, right? This is what you've been doing here. Excellent. Underneath that, we've got the Horned One, which is the Devil in a standard deck, and that talks about, you know, it talks about fear, and it talks about toxicity, and it talks about all these kind of things. If you are healing yourself, you are moving out of a vibration of fear. You are elevating your vibration, calling in the Wheel of Fortune. Excellent. The next card that you've got is the Nine of Cups. And for you, I feel like this is kind of a sharpening up of what it is that you actually want, because I think you've probably spent quite a lot of time kind of listing all the things that you don't want and not being specific about what you do want. And the thing is, when you've got a list this big of what you don't want, it doesn't actually ensure that what you do want comes towards you, just, you know, because actually you're really focusing on those things that you don't want, and then you tend to draw them in towards you, right? Feels like you've shifted that somewhat, because then directly under that we've got the Ace of Pentacles. Now this is your ace. This is a solid start, new start, or the opportunity for a new start. in the material world, right? In something that a Capricorn can truly understand and grab hold of and run with. And then underneath that, we've got the Magician, right? First rule of manifesting is that something has to exist first. Well, it has to exist twice. First in the mind, when you envisage it, when you intend it, and then afterwards in the material, right? It feels like this is what you're doing, right? You've got very clear about what your Nine of Cups is for you, what will make you happy, what you want to draw towards you. And it's new opportunities. You know, they could be financial potentially. This could be a job. This could be, you know, a promotion. This could be a new house. It could be anything. The idea is that it's an opportunity to increase your material comfort in some way, right? Or improve your life in a way that you can materially appreciate, with the energy of with the Magician. And then directly underneath that, we've got the Hanged Man, which is the card of Pisces, right? And this tells me that you have used Pisces season for exactly this purpose. And I like that. It's very good. So, interestingly enough, apart from this Two of Pentacles here, that's at the bottom of the deck, you don't have a single Pentacle card out on the table, right? That Ace of Pentacles is buried under a few things now, right? What we've got is every other element, and I find that really interesting. Because it's almost like you don't need to bring that pentacle energy into this at the moment, right? Because what you do need to do is balance out all the other elements that have been neglected. Do we think that's fair, Capricorn? I think that might be fair. First card that you've got is the King of Cups. Now, this could be a Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio in your midst, strictly Scorpio. And it doesn't have to be a man, but I don't feel like it is. I feel like this is a newfound sense of emotional understanding for you, right? It's coming out for me directly underneath the Strength card, right? Remember how we talked about the water that was on here? You're doing a bit of sloshing around. Feels like you're opening yourself up. In the next couple of weeks, like you're kind of seeing the value of having an emotional response about things at all, right? There's a mastery with the King of Cups. There's a leveling up, because it's not the page, it's not the knight, it's not the queen, it's the king. You've gone straight for the top, right? And this is mastery of yourself and your own emotions, right? You do not get driven by negative emotions because you identify them as you see them. It allows you to process them, put them in the right place in your head, and then you don't project, you don't do all of these other things that are incredibly damaging to people around you, because you get yourself, right? And then we've got Justice, card of Libra, air energy, right? This is a card of doing things the right way, right? It can be a card of karma. And it feels like what you've done with the healing, as well as raising your bright vibration and all those cool things, is actually kind of righted a few things that were wrong with you. I mean, another interpretation for this is, you know, is legal proceedings of some description. You know, we're talking about contracts, court proceedings, all of those kind of things. You know, if you've got documents to sign, I mean, I'd wait until the 29th of March being over and done with, because that's the end of the retrograde shadow period. But you're probably safe to do so now. So, you know, work contracts, stuff like that. It's all cool, you know, it's all good. But it could be an opportunity for something that comes up that has a legal aspect to it, right? Whether that be a job or that be, you know, contracts of any description for, you know, things, whatever. Because the next card that you've got is the Knight of Wands, and that is the card for me, Sagittarius, right? But this looks like it's leaping on an opportunity as it presents, right? Because you've got the Magician down here, right? The Magician was in the shadow cards of the deck. And then we've got somebody who's using every other element other than the one that they possess in order to manifest things. Now, what you're manifesting, I don't know. It's not entirely clear, right? It could be a new job. We've got that Ace of Pentacles. But there's definitely a new start, right? Definitely a new start, possibly with contracts to be signed. Fuck my life, like... I fucking hate wind. Like, really? I end up eating my own hair and it's awful. I just can't. I cannot. I just want to hide inside the house. Anyway, right? Mastery of emotions, right here. A very clear sense of justice, right? Or legal proceedings, court proceedings, right? If this legally related stuff, if this is court proceedings, if this is contracts, right? This is going to go very well, right? And then we've got the Knight of Wands, who is sometimes called the footboy, right? Because he's not really committed terribly well. What he does do is, like, as all the Wands suit does very, very well, is he lives in the moment. And that is something that Capricorn do not do terribly well. They don't do it terribly often, but here's you, like, rocking this new energy here. And this is manifesting behavior, right? This is what the Magician is on about at the bottom of the deck here. Because he is present, because he's got his eyes open and he's literally seeing everything, right? He's not in his head, like, working on his 5-year plan for what's coming up. I don't mean to sound like I'm doing you down. I am a Capricorn ascendant, so I get it, right? He's 100% truly present, and like, that combination there is actually really powerful. The King of Cups, emotional mastery, and the ability to be entirely present in the room and pounce on opportunities as they present, right? This is what's coming towards you. I really like that. We should be a bit more specific. Like, if this was a different reading, I would pull clarifiers and like kind of drill down into it. But it's just kind of an energetic snapshot. See where you are and what's going on and what you should be aware of. It's a very mature progression of cards here. I like it. Ten of Pentacles again. Maybe your Ten of Pentacles is your 5-year plan, but you're kind of realizing that you can utilize the other elements, these other resources around you, emotional resources, creative resources, in order to pull something quite spectacular off. Need 3 cards of advice for Capricorn, please. First one, and then the second one. Fuck. There's about 16 cards that came out there, I'm not going to take those. So, the first card is the Hermit, okay. Ooh. Second card is Judgment. Let's get you one more card. One more card for Capricorn, please. And the Star. Huh. Bottom of the deck, we've got the Ten of Swords, right? You've closed out a cycle. You've come to the end of something with this work that you've been doing on yourself. And that's really, really healthy, right? Endings are what bring in beginnings, right? Like, this ending is what is bringing in your Ace of Pentacles, and that's exactly what you want. The first card of advice that you've got is the Hermit. That's the card of Virgo in the Major Arcana. It's numbered 9. And it talks about going within, right? It talks about, in fact, being still for long enough, and that's not something that Capricorns do particularly well either. Being still for long enough to allow the answers that exist within you to bubble to the surface. Now, I don't think it's any accident that that's come out first. And that also sits below this fire energy and this water energy, right? Fire, water, earth. No swords here, right? This is not a thinking exercise. This is a continuation of the work that you were doing in Pisces season. I mean, we're still in Pisces season, so maybe utilize the energy while it's still here. Because when Aries hits, when it comes in, there's going to be a certain amount of movement, right? Big movement. Capricorn and Aries are cardinal signs, so they kind of sit at different points, and they are in some ways slightly conflicting. I know a Capricorn, and his father is an Aries, and all the time, but they can use each other's energy. Continue the work that you've been doing, at least for the time being, in the next 10 days or so, right? Because there are more answers to be found that you haven't quite discovered yet, and they will help you move forwards, right? And we've got Judgment. Now, I've got the words personal excavation going around in my head, and I feel sure that's what I named your video last month, but I cannot remember if it was yours or somebody else's. Like, there was a notion of going backwards in order to go forwards, and like that's what this entire reading's about here. Like, this is what a lot of you have done, but you're not quite done yet, right? Judgment here. So it's possible that there's a little bit more going backwards that you need to look at. But if not, what we've got here are these two cards, Justice and Judgment, right? Allowing you to be truly discerning about your move forwards, right? Utilize good judgment, and you will find that good judgment by going within, not by thinking the crap out of this situation, right? Because Judgment is the card of Scorpio for me, right? That's water. The Hermit, earth, right? Take your time, feel your way forwards, because that's going to see you right? And then we've got the Star, which is Aquarius, which is air energy. But again, rather than this being a big thinky energy, this is an energy of trust, right? And I think what you're being asked to do, because every single one of your advice cards is major arcana, is trust that going within and looking for the answers is going to enable you to make the right judgment about how you move forward. And you're going to be able to move forwards in a much more powerful way if you feel your way through, rather than try and, bulldoze your way through, kind of hit things with your goat head, right? This is not, this time period here, this 2 weeks that this reading covers, right? This is not a point for butting things with your goat head, right? It's not bulldozing time. It's a gentler energy, and it's a more reflective energy, and you're being asked to employ that because the Star card is all about following your guiding star, and in order to do that you have to trust, right? Whether you're following a star, whether you're following your intuition, you're feeling, following what your gut is telling you, you need to be still enough to be able to hear that voice speaking to you. And if you're not, you'll miss it, right? So this is what you're being asked to do this month. It's kind of cool. It seems like there's some exciting stuff going on for you. And the fact that the Wheel of Fortune has come up like that only comes up when things are, they're going to improve, and they're going to improve quite dramatically, in a really good way, in a way that you, Capricorn, will appreciate. But you're just being asked to pull the brain down and feel a little more, right? That's what it is. Right. I'm going to take myself off. I've got to go get my children from school in about half an hour in this awful stormy weather. Not impressed. Not impressed at all. Anyway, thank you again for all the things as I outlined at the beginning of the video. And take care. If you want to leave a comment, subscribe, like, all that sort of stuff, I'd be totes appreciative. If not, then take care. Know that I love you all, and I will see you in about 10 days, maybe 12, for the April monthly readings. All right, take care.